Discipline is not a word many like to hear, but it is the very foundation of a victorious life. Without it, dreams remain only dreams, potential lies wasted, and the course of life drifts like a ship without a rudder. Discipline is not about punishment, it is about direction. It is the inner strength that keeps us steady when distractions whisper, when temptations call, and when the easy way looks more appealing than the right way. Every great achievement in history was built on the backbone of discipline. Nations are strengthened by it, families are held together by it, and individuals rise to greatness because of it. Talent can open doors, but only discipline will keep them open. You cannot hope to conquer the storms of life if you first do not conquer yourself. Self-discipline is the first victory. It is the quiet decision to say no when the world shouts yes. It is the daily commitment to get up when you feel like lying down, to stay faithful when your heart longs for escape, and to push forward when everything inside you screams to give up. Discipline yourself in your thoughts, because the mind is the battlefield. A wandering, undisciplined mind will eventually lead to a wandering, undisciplined life. Discipline yourself in your words, for words can either build or destroy. Discipline yourself in your habits, for your habits will determine the destiny you reach. It will not always be easy. Discipline is forged in the fire of sacrifice. It requires denying what feels good now for what is good later. But the harvest of discipline is always greater than the pain of discipline. The one who chooses discipline today will reap freedom tomorrow. The one who avoids it today will face regret tomorrow. If you desire to rise higher, if you desire to live with impact, then discipline yourself. Train your heart to choose what is right. Train your hands to work diligently. Train your spirit to endure hardship with strength. A disciplined life is a life that cannot be shaken. So I urge you, discipline yourself. Do not wait for someone else to restrain you, control you, or guide you. Take responsibility for your life. Set your course with intention, and stay the path with determination. For the one who masters himself is the one who will truly master life. Discipline is the foundation of victory. Every person who has ever risen above the ordinary, every man and woman who has accomplished something great, every life that has left a lasting legacy was built upon the rock of discipline. Without it, the strongest talent becomes wasted, the brightest mind grows scattered, and the noblest dreams drift away with the winds of distraction. Discipline is not simply about restriction. It is about strength, direction, and endurance. It is the unseen power that holds everything together when the storms of life begin to rage. Think about it. No army ever won a battle without discipline. No athlete ever stood on the podium of victory without training his body with discipline. No student has ever mastered knowledge without disciplining the mind to study. Discipline is the secret ingredient behind every triumph. Yet it is the very thing most people avoid because it requires sacrifice, patience, and consistency. But the truth remains unchanged. Discipline is the foundation of victory. What is victory without first conquering the self? The greatest enemy you will ever face is not the critic, not the rival, not the opposition, but your own undisciplined self. The cravings that call you to waste time, the laziness that tempts you to sit still when you should be moving forward, the impulses that lure you into wrong choices. These are the battles that determine your future. Before you conquer the world, you must conquer yourself. And when you discipline yourself, you gain the greatest victory of all, self-mastery. A person who has mastered discipline does not live by feelings, but by principles. Feelings are fleeting. They rise and fall like waves on the sea. Discipline is the anchor that keeps you steady when the winds of emotion blow. You may not feel like getting up early, but discipline gets you out of bed. You may not feel like staying focused, but discipline keeps you at your task. You may not feel like forgiving, but discipline teaches you to choose the higher road. Victory belongs to those who are willing to do what needs to be done, even when it is hard. Discipline begins in the mind. The thoughts you allow to live in your mind will shape the direction of your life. If your mind is undisciplined, your life will be undisciplined. A disciplined mind refuses to entertain negativity, refuses to dwell on failure, and refuses to be distracted by every fleeting desire. It chooses focus. It chooses clarity. It chooses what builds rather than what destroys. When your mind is disciplined, your actions follow, and soon your character is transformed. But discipline does not stop with thoughts. It must be evident in your words and in your habits. Words carry power, and a disciplined tongue builds bridges instead of burning them. A disciplined word encourages rather than tears down, speaks truth instead of lies, and chooses silence when anger tries to explode. Habits, 2, form the structure of life. A disciplined habit of prayer or meditation, a disciplined habit of study, a disciplined habit of hard work. These habits accumulate over time and carve the road to success. What you do daily will determine where you stand eventually. Discipline is not always pleasant. It is forged in sacrifice. It means saying no to what is easy so that you can say yes to what is lasting. It means turning away from short-term pleasure in order to secure long-term gain. The athlete disciplines his body by training when everyone else sleeps. The leader disciplines his time by studying when others are careless. The dreamer disciplines his energy by working quietly when others are wasting their hours. That sacrifice may feel painful in the moment, but the harvest of discipline is always greater than the pain of discipline. There are two kinds of pain in this life: the pain of discipline and the pain of regret. Discipline is hard, yes, but regret is harder. Discipline is temporary, but regret lasts a lifetime. The person who disciplines himself today will walk in freedom tomorrow, but the one who avoids discipline will find himself chained by the consequences of his own choices. You cannot escape the cost. Either you pay it now with discipline, or you pay it later with regret. Discipline also prepares you for the storms of life. No one can avoid trials, disappointments, or unexpected struggles. But discipline makes you unshakable. When the storm comes, the undisciplined life collapses, but the disciplined life stands firm because it has been trained, shaped, and strengthened for the challenge. Discipline builds resilience, and resilience brings victory. If you want to rise higher, discipline yourself in every area of life. Discipline your thoughts so that negativity has no room to live. Discipline your words so that truth and encouragement flow from your lips. Discipline your habits so that your daily choices lead to growth instead of destruction. Discipline your time, for wasted time is wasted life. Discipline your emotions so that anger, jealousy, and fear no longer control you. Each act of discipline is a brick in the foundation of your future victory. Do not wait for someone else to impose discipline upon you. True strength comes when you choose it for yourself. External rules may restrain a person for a while, but only internal discipline can guide a person for a lifetime. Responsibility is the mark of maturity, and when you take responsibility for your own growth, your own choices, and your own destiny, you are no longer a victim of circumstance. You are the captain of your soul. Greatness does not come by chance. It does not fall into the laps of the careless or the lazy. Greatness is earned through discipline. The world remembers not the one who dreamed, but the one who endured, not the one who wished, but the one who worked, not the one who started, but the one who finished. Discipline is what separates the ordinary from the extraordinary, the mediocre from the victorious. So discipline yourself. Discipline yourself to wake up with purpose, to live with intention, to speak with wisdom, to act with courage, and to finish with excellence. Do not surrender to excuses, do not give in to comfort, and do not be led by fleeting feelings. Choose discipline, for in discipline lies your victory. The person who masters himself has already won the greatest battle and is prepared for every other battle ahead. Self-discipline is the first victory. It is the battle no one sees, the struggle fought in silence, and the triumph that unlocks every other triumph in life. Before a person can lead others, before a person can achieve greatness, before a person can fulfill their destiny, they must first learn to master themselves. It is easy to talk about dreams, but without discipline, those dreams evaporate into nothing more than empty words. It is easy to make promises, but without discipline, those promises are broken by weakness and distraction. Self-discipline is the force that takes vision and turns it into reality. When we look at the great stories of history, we often admire the victories, the breakthroughs, the achievements. But if you look deeper, behind every accomplishment stands a man or woman who first conquered themselves. They disciplined their minds when others were careless. They disciplined their bodies when others were lazy. They disciplined their habits when others chose comfort. That quiet, invisible choice of discipline became the secret that gave them strength when storms came. For the truth is simple: if you cannot rule yourself, life will rule you. The battlefield of self-discipline begins in the mind. Every action, every habit, every decision begins first as a thought. If your thoughts are undisciplined, your life will be undisciplined. If your thoughts wander aimlessly, so will your destiny. Self-discipline is learning to train your mind to focus on what is good, what is true, what is worthy. It is refusing to allow negative voices, unhealthy desires, or destructive distractions to set the course of your future. A person who wins the battle of the mind has already won half the fight. Yet discipline is not only of the mind, it is also of the body and of the spirit. The body must be trained, for it is the vessel through which we live and act. Without discipline, the body becomes weak, sluggish, and unprepared to endure hardship. But with discipline, the body is strengthened, sharpened, and made ready to persevere. The spirit too must be disciplined. Patience must be trained. Endurance must be exercised. Faith must be practiced. The spirit that is undisciplined will collapse under pressure, but the spirit that has been trained through daily discipline will stand unshaken when trials come. Self-discipline is never easy because it asks us to say no to ourselves. It asks us to delay gratification, to choose the harder road, to sacrifice what feels good now for what is truly good later. It is easier to indulge the appetite than to restrain it. It is easier to take shortcuts than to build carefully. It is easier to quit than to press on. But what comes easy today often brings regret tomorrow, while what costs you today will reward you tomorrow. The pain of discipline is far lighter than the pain of regret. Those who discipline themselves taste the sweet fruit of freedom, while those who refuse it live bound by weakness. Think about it: the undisciplined person is not free. They are chained by their own desires. They are ruled by their emotions. They are imprisoned by their lack of control. But the disciplined person, though they may deny themselves in the moment, walk in a freedom that few ever know. They are free to choose wisely, free to stand firm, free to live with purpose. Discipline may feel like restriction, but in reality, it is the doorway to true liberty. Self-discipline is also the foundation of trust. Others cannot trust someone who is careless with themselves, but a disciplined man or woman is reliable, steady, consistent. When the winds of life shift, they do not crumble. When temptation comes knocking, they do not bow. Their yes means yes, and their no means no. Such people rise as leaders, not because they demanded it, but because discipline elevated them. The world does not follow those who are reckless. It follows those who first learn to lead themselves. Every habit we build is either shaping us into strength or weakness. Discipline is the art of choosing daily habits that align with the person you want to become. It may be the discipline of waking up early, the discipline of controlling your tongue, the discipline of working diligently, or the discipline of saying no to destructive patterns. Small, daily disciplines may seem insignificant, but they are the bricks that build the foundation of a strong life. Over time, those small choices create a destiny that no single leap could achieve. Greatness is not built in a day. It is built daily through discipline. But let us not be deceived. Discipline does not happen by accident. It requires decision. No one drifts into discipline. You must choose it. You must decide that your future is worth more than your comfort. You must decide that your calling is worth more than your cravings. You must decide that your destiny is worth more than your distractions. Each day you face the choice: discipline or disorder, strength or weakness, growth or decay. Choose discipline, and though it will cost you, the reward is immeasurable. Self-discipline is also the preparation for impact. No one changes the world by accident. Those who change the world have already changed themselves. They have trained in silence so that they can stand in strength. They have sacrificed in private so that they can lead in public. They have denied themselves so that they can give more to others. Discipline is not only for your own good, it is for the good of those who will be influenced by your life. A disciplined life becomes an inspiration, a light that others look to when their own lives are shaken. So I say again, self-discipline is the first victory. It is the root from which all other victories grow. Without it, talent is wasted, potential is lost, and dreams die unborn. With it, mountains can be moved, storms can be endured, and destinies can be fulfilled. The disciplined man or woman may not always be the loudest, the strongest, or the most talented, but they will endure. They will finish. They will rise. And when the end of life comes, it will not be the moments of ease that define you, but the moments of discipline. The sacrifices you made, the self you mastered, the habits you built, these will be the legacy that speaks when your voice is silent. For the one who has conquered themselves has already won the greatest battle. So, discipline yourself. Train your mind, strengthen your body, guard your spirit. Refuse to be ruled by impulse, by desire, or by weakness. Take hold of your destiny with the strength of self-control. For self-discipline is not the enemy of freedom. It is the path to it. It is not the chain that binds you. It is the key that unlocks your future. Remember this truth: self-discipline is the first victory, and when you win that battle, every other victory becomes possible. Discipline requires sacrifice, but produces freedom. That may sound like a contradiction to some, but it is the great truth of life. Freedom is not found in doing whatever you want, whenever you want. That kind of living is not freedom. It is slavery to impulse, to weakness, to temptation, and to regret. True freedom comes when you train yourself, when you master yourself, and when you pay the price of discipline so that you can reap the reward of a life that is steady, fruitful, and unshakable. Think about it. Every lasting achievement has a price. Every great man or woman who rose above mediocrity had to learn the art of discipline. The athlete who wins the crown sacrifices comfort in training, pushing his body beyond its limits so that on the day of competition, he is strong enough to endure. The student who excels in knowledge sacrifices leisure and entertainment so that his mind is sharpened and his wisdom expanded. The leader who earns respect sacrifices selfishness and learns to put others first so that people will follow with trust. Nothing of value in this world comes without discipline, and nothing destroys potential more quickly than the refusal to sacrifice. But the beauty is this: the sacrifice is temporary while the reward is lasting. The pain of self-denial lasts for a season, but the freedom it brings lasts for a lifetime. The athlete who disciplines himself enjoys the freedom of strength. The student who disciplines herself enjoys the freedom of opportunity. The worker who disciplines his craft enjoys the freedom of success. Discipline may feel like chains at first, but it becomes the key that unlocks every door of possibility. Discipline begins in the mind. The greatest battles are not fought on battlefields of land, but in the private chambers of our thoughts. An undisciplined mind wanders into doubt, fear, and defeat before the body ever takes a step. A disciplined mind, however, chooses focus. It learns to say no to destructive thoughts and yes to truth. It refuses to dwell on bitterness, negativity, or laziness. If you conquer the mind, you can conquer the day. If you conquer the day, you can conquer the years. And if you conquer the years, you can conquer your destiny. Discipline also touches the words we speak. How many relationships have been ruined because someone did not discipline their tongue? How many opportunities have been lost because of words spoken in anger or carelessness? The disciplined person learns to speak with restraint, to think before they release words, to use their tongue as an instrument of encouragement rather than destruction. This sacrifice may seem small, holding back a harsh reply, choosing silence instead of gossip, speaking truth even when it is uncomfortable. But in the end, it produces freedom. It produces the freedom of trust in relationships, the freedom of respect from others, and the freedom of peace within oneself. Discipline must also reach into our habits. Habits form the rhythm of our lives, and once established, they control more of us than we often realize. An undisciplined life is one where bad habits grow like weeds: procrastination, overindulgence, carelessness, dishonesty. But a disciplined life carefully uproots the weeds and plants seeds of diligence, integrity, and consistency. The sacrifice may come in small, daily choices: rising early to work, choosing responsibility over excuses, managing resources wisely. These sacrifices add up, and in time they produce freedom. Freedom from financial bondage, freedom from wasted years, freedom from regret. Discipline requires endurance. There will be days when your body cries out for ease, when your heart aches for comfort, when your mind tempts you to quit. In those moments, the sacrifice feels heavy. But it is exactly then that discipline shows its power. For discipline is not built in moments of comfort. It is forged in moments of resistance. Every time you push forward when it would be easier to stop, every time you choose what is right instead of what is easy, every time you remain faithful when no one is watching, you are building a strength that nothing can break. That strength is the doorway to freedom. And what is this freedom? It is the freedom of a clear conscience. It is the freedom of knowing you lived with intention and not by accident. It is the freedom of standing tall in the storms of life because your character is rooted deep. It is the freedom of opportunities that open because you proved faithful in the small things. It is the freedom to lead, to inspire, to rise above mediocrity and show the world what true greatness looks like. Discipline is not easy, but it is worth it. Consider the alternative. A life without discipline may seem appealing in the moment. No rules, no restraint, no sacrifice. But what follows? Broken relationships, wasted potential, bodies weakened by neglect, minds clouded by distraction, hearts weighed down by regret. That is not freedom. That is bondage. The person who refuses discipline will one day wake up enslaved to consequences they never wanted. The price of freedom is always paid in discipline, and the cost of neglect is always regret. So the call is clear: discipline yourself. Begin with one step at a time. Train your mind to think what is true and noble. Train your words to build and not destroy. Train your habits to reflect integrity and diligence. Do not wait for someone else to restrain you, for true discipline comes from within. Take ownership of your choices. Guard your heart against distractions that waste your time and temptations that rob your future. And when the road feels heavy, remember that every step of sacrifice is leading you closer to the freedom your soul longs for. The disciplined life is not perfect, but it is purposeful. It is not easy, but it is effective. It may be lonely at times, but it is never in vain. The sacrifices you make today are investments into the life you will live tomorrow. Do not despise the pain of discipline, for it is shaping a future of freedom, joy, and strength. Discipline requires sacrifice, yes, but do not forget, it also produces freedom. And when you have tasted that freedom, you will know it was worth every price you paid. Discipline is the bridge between who you are today and who you were created to be tomorrow. It is the thread that weaves character into your soul and strength into your journey. Without discipline, even the brightest dreams wither away. For dreams without discipline are like seeds left on dry ground. They may have potential, but they will never take root. A disciplined life shapes destiny because it directs the course of your actions, guards the purity of your thoughts, and anchors your soul when the winds of life howl against you. Discipline begins within. It is not something forced upon you by others, but a choice you make when you decide that your life will not be wasted on fleeting desires. You cannot control the storms of life, but you can control how you prepare for them. You can choose to wake up early when others sleep, to study when others waste time, to speak truth when others lie, to stand firm when others fall. That is the power of discipline. It is the unseen strength that separates those who merely exist from those who truly live. The undisciplined person is tossed back and forth, moved by every emotion, every circumstance, every temptation. They live without a foundation. But the disciplined person builds his life on rock, steady and unshaken. When distractions come, and they will, discipline keeps the eyes fixed on the goal. When temptations whisper their promises, discipline gives the courage to say no. When fatigue and failure threaten to cripple progress, discipline whispers, rise again, keep going, do not quit. Think about history. Every person who left an impact greater than their own lifetime was marked by discipline. The athlete who rises before dawn to train when no one is watching. The leader who denies himself comfort to serve his people faithfully. The mother who works tirelessly for her children's future. The student who turns down pleasures to study and grow. All of them prove one truth: discipline shapes destiny. Self-discipline is the first victory. Before you can conquer the world outside, you must conquer the world inside. Many have been defeated not by their enemies, not by circumstances, but by their own lack of discipline. They had talent, but not commitment. They had vision, but not consistency. They had potential, but not perseverance. The greatest battles are often not fought in public, but in the secret places of the heart, where no one but you knows the struggle. And every time you choose discipline, you win a victory that builds a life no storm can destroy. Discipline begins in the mind. Your thoughts are seeds, and what you allow to grow there will shape your future. An undisciplined mind will wander into doubt, fear, and negativity, and eventually your life will follow. But a disciplined mind stays focused on what is true, noble, and purposeful. Guard your thoughts, for they become your words. Guard your words, for they become your actions. Guard your actions, for they become your habits. Guard your habits, for they shape your destiny. And all of this rests on one cornerstone discipline. But discipline is not easy. It is not meant to be. It requires sacrifice. It means denying yourself the temporary pleasures that pull you away from your greater purpose. It is saying no to what is easy so you can say yes to what is lasting. It is choosing sweat now so you can enjoy strength later. Many want the reward, but not the cost, the victory, but not the battle, the harvest, but not the planting. Yet there is no destiny without discipline. The pain of discipline may hurt for a moment, but the pain of regret will last a lifetime. Freedom does not come from doing whatever you want, whenever you want. Freedom comes from discipline, for the one who controls himself is the one who is truly free. A person who cannot control his appetites, his words, his actions, or his desires is a slave to them. But the one who disciplines himself, who learns to master his impulses, his habits, his distractions, that person walks in freedom and strength. Discipline may feel like chains to those who do not understand it, but in truth, it is the key that unlocks purpose, power, and destiny. There will be days when you do not feel like being disciplined. Days when your heart is weary and your strength feels gone. That is when discipline shows its true power. It is not about feelings, it is about faithfulness. Feelings change, but discipline holds you steady. When the road is long, discipline keeps you walking. When the night is dark, discipline keeps you moving toward the light. When failure strikes, discipline helps you rise again. Without it, you will fall with every blow. With it, you will endure and overcome. Look at your life right now. Ask yourself, are my habits leading me toward the destiny I desire or away from it? Every habit you form, every decision you make is shaping your future. The disciplined life is not built overnight, but brick by brick, choice by choice, sacrifice by sacrifice. It is built when you wake up with purpose, when you work with diligence, when you speak with integrity, when you refuse to quit. Over time, those small decisions create a destiny greater than you could have imagined. Do not wait for discipline to come from outside forces. Do not wait for someone to hold your hand, to control your steps, to guide your every move. Discipline yourself. It is your life, your destiny, your calling. No one else can live it for you. No one else can fight your battles, form your habits, or walk your path. You must choose discipline daily. And when you do, you will find that the life you shape will be one of strength, influence, and impact. A disciplined life shapes destiny because it prepares you for what lies ahead. It sharpens your character, molds your values, and equips you for the challenges you cannot yet see. One day, when others are shaken, you will stand firm. When others are lost, you will know the way. When others are broken, you will be whole. Not because you were more talented, not because you were more gifted, but because you were more disciplined. So I say to you today, discipline yourself. Discipline your mind to think rightly. Discipline your heart to love purely. Discipline your body to act with strength. Discipline your spirit to endure hardship with courage. Do not despise the struggle, for it is shaping you into the person you were meant to become. And when your journey is complete, when you look back at the life you lived, you will see that every act of discipline, every sacrifice, every choice to stay the course was not in vain, for a disciplined life does more than shape your own destiny. It inspires those who follow after you, leaving a legacy that cannot be erased. Discipline yourself, for a disciplined life shapes destiny.